Welcome back to the Walker Valley Football Coaches Show, sponsored all season long by Wholesale Supply Group. I'm Andy Morris, along with my co-host Jacob Mason and your head coach, Drew Akins. Coach, good to have you. It is our official first episode of the 23 season. It's Polk County week, but before we get into Polk County, we're going to talk a little bit of Notre Dame. So before we dive into Notre Dame, Coach, first of all, how's everything going?
Man, exciting first week. Obviously, we played really well. Was really excited for our guys. You know, it's one of those things that I was really anxious pregame. You know, just new season. Anytime you get the new season and you start all the things that go with that. There's always nerves, and you don't know really how it's going to go. So I was really excited with the way we came out and played, and proud of our guys for going and executing. And it was kind of like 8 months of just work and frustration and blood, sweat, and tears, really, that kind of led to a great game on Friday night. And I owe it all to our players. Our players went out and executed our plan. When we talk through it, you're going to hear how well they executed. So really excited about it. It was nice to get in here on a Monday. It's always fun to get in after a win. So met with our guys today. We'll get ready for Polk County this week.
Coach, I read an article in the Cleveland Daily Banner where you were quoted talking about having 4 7-on-7s, the scrimmages. So when you can finally get under the lights on Friday night, even though it kind of feels more like baseball weather than football weather, right? It's still nice to get out there.
Yeah, listen, we do a lot of competitions and really evaluating that, because you were right. We did 4 7-on-7s. We did 3 scrimmages. There's talk of going back to a jamboree. It's just so much in the preseason, and you worry as a coach. You worry about burnout. You worry you get to game 4 or 5 and your kids are just exhausted. So we made some changes the last 2 years that I feel like allow us to peak at the end of the year, which is really obviously when you want to start doing that. And when you look back at last year, the playoff win, I think we owe a lot to the way we handled summer. And then we did that a little bit better this year, but always trying to find that balance of like competing, seeing other colors, but also making sure that your kids want to keep showing up to the building and want to keep playing. So we did a lot of competitions, man. It was fun. We talked about it throughout the week. Hey, like we're finally to one that at the end of this, you're going to have a win or a loss beside your record, and that's meaningful. And when you play those scrimmages and then you get to the end, and whether you're successful or not successful, it's still 0-0. It takes some of the importance away. So you really felt a different level of importance on Friday night, and I was really excited to see how we played with that extra anxiety on us, and we handled that really well.
Go ahead, Jacob.
Yeah, so Coach, back at it again, exciting. I'm the defensive guy, so let's just hop into Notre Dame and let's talk about the defense side of the ball. Who did you guys see as the defensive player of the week? And just kind of tell us about what you thought about your defensive performance on Friday night.
Yeah, man, I thought we had a lot of guys be really successful. Well, anytime you hold a team like that, Coach Fant, let me start with, I have a ton of respect for Coach Fant. And his program and what he does with his teams and putting his kids in situations where they can be successful. So a ton of respect for him. And they came in with a really good scheme. They run power really well. They run inside zone really well. They made us kind of adjust early in the game with the way they were running power and their willingness to cut back on power. And they kind of got us on some yards early in the game, which caused us to make some defensive adjustments there in the first half. But man, we had kids at all 3 levels step up. Connor Phillips is playing as good as any defensive lineman that we've had here during our time. He's just, we have to sit him out of practice so we can get a look offensively. It's kind of funny to talk about that, but I go to Coach Harvey and I'm like, hey, you can't play him today because we got to get this look, and he's going to just wreck it all. But what it's done is it's made our offense better because we have to go against him every single day. So CP's playing great. I thought our defensive line as a whole, you look at Ashton Owens getting an interception that he returns and sets us up for a score. The second level, Leandre Hinton was our defensive player of the game. He had 7 tackles, 6 assists, a tackle for loss. And then you add in a big hit on the opening kickoff. I don't know if y'all saw it, but man, he ran down on the opening kickoff and just laid a kid out,
Yeah.
and then made the tackle on top of that. So he's been a great addition. And then you look at Jacob Hollingsworth, who is our undisputed leader, and just his voice and his ability to make plays. It has been really awesome to see his leadership kind of step into that role. And then you look at the third level, with Forte, Tyron Forte at safety. I thought Zeke played okay at safety. He's been coming back off an injury. So Zeke was kind of feeling his way back into playing. But Braxton and Josiah out at corner, man, they both played awesome. And obviously we gave up the one big deep ball, but it was underthrown. And Braxton played a great game. If you go watch it, man, Braxton was awesome. And it's unfortunate that ball was underthrown because he was in great position.
Right.
If that ball was thrown where it should have been thrown, he probably intercepts it. So I was really happy with our defense. Anytime, in the preseason, we talk about preseason, we didn't give up a touchdown in the preseason. Did not give up a single touchdown in 3 scrimmages. So we knew we had a really good shot on defense to hold them down to a low point total. And we're really excited to see that come to fruition on Friday night. But just our energy and the way we play, I always try to do this, and y'all know it, but, dude, our defensive staff is just so good. And, we were talking in the pre-show, just we've changed the mentality around here. The defense at Walker Valley used to be hit and miss. We'd give up points, we'd score points, and it was always kind of a shootout. And I don't see us getting in shootout games anymore just because our defensive staff is so professional in the way they prepare. Coach Harvey does such a great job getting our guys in a position. But our whole defensive staff, just the way they prepare our kids, and they love our kids, and our kids play so hard for them. It's really cool to be a part of that.
Yeah, for sure. You talked about their early success running the ball, and really we talked about they seem to go off tackle. But to me, I didn't watch film. If you want to give me the huddle password, I'll start hopping on. But Hinton was a terror in A-gap. So it's kind of hard to run power when you've got a linebacker that's filling that hole, and then he has absolutely nowhere to go. That's where they kind of seem to bounce back outside. And they had some athletes. Notre Dame had some really talented dudes, and I thought one thing that was like we get used to saying this every week. There's 11 hats around the football. Yeah. That's the mentality that Walker Valley has brought, that they're rushing the football. So just kind of talk about Hinton one more time, and then we'll move on to the offensive side.
Yeah, that position in our defense is we put our best athlete. Eli played there, just our most athletic kid, because it stays clean. Our D-line did an outstanding job of making sure they get hands on offensive linemen where they can't climb up to his level. So a lot of times when you watch the film, he's unblocked. So now it's just, hey, can he go plug the hole and make the tackle? And we, literally I'll talk with our coaches and I'll just laugh because we call him he's just a Tasmanian devil, man. He's just going if you watch him. And he's a great piece that we've added this year. At Mike, he made 7 tackles on his own and then was in on 6 others. So just his ability to be around the ball. But if you look at it, and we kind of talked about this in the preseason, I got questioned over and over again, how are you going to replace Eli Denton? And listen, Eli Denton is one of the best football players in this school's history, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But the way we replace Eli Denton is we go money ball. And now we have Jacob and Zeke and Noah Green and Leandre and Forte at DB and Mason Alexander. And then we have our corners that are playing really lockdown coverage on the outside and CP in the middle. Now I think, honestly, we're more of a total defense this year. Just in our preseason and game 1, we're showing that we can be a total defense a little more. Now we're not relying on one guy to go make a play. We have this defense that 11 guys can be there, and they're all bought in and they're running to the football. And because of that, man, I think we have a lot of opportunities to have success if we keep playing with the same energy that we're playing with right now. And when we do that, man, we're tough on defense.
Yeah.
And Coach Jacob hit on this a few times during the broadcast of the game, but that has transitioned also to your special teams unit because the kick coverage, phenomenal. Yeah. Again, the final against Notre Dame was 45-8 for those of you that have been in a cave and weren't at the game. But 45-8 over Notre Dame, and defensively, as Jacob said, just a solid effort. But that also is, as I said, transitioned to special teams as well.
Yeah, it's a mentality. I mean, it really is. I told our players today, man, I wish I could put and I probably will end up putting a playlist together on Huddle of just plays where we just went and hit somebody real hard. And, it didn't necessarily impact like the ball carrier, but it was just a one-on-one where we were physical. And that's something, just a mentality of physicality. And we've been preaching that on offensive line, on defense, at receiver, all over the field. And you look at Tate Roundtree, he had 2 pancakes on kickoff return. Running down, Eli Cross got him one on kickoff. Leandre got him one on kickoff. Just guys that are willing to go be physical with them. And, man, it's just kind of a lost part of this game is the physicality that it takes to be successful. But, man, the other night there were bodies flying, and that was really cool to see our defense, our special teams go be violent. And then, obviously, on offense, too, our offensive line bought into that physicality, and they did some great things up front that I'm really excited to talk about.
Yeah, Coach, so on air with us during the game, post-game show, we named Evan Schwartzel Player of the Game. Talk about Evan's progression in this offense, specifically since Notre Dame last year to where he is now.
Yeah, there's something special about a second-year quarterback. There is, and I've kind of talked about it all preseason, every interview that I've been in. Hey, man, Evan's our dude, and he's got a ton of confidence. And because he is so confident in what he's doing, it's trickled down into everybody on the football team. He's kind of that emotional confidence leader. You see him go score that big, long touchdown right there at a halftime, and the excitement of everybody. That's on one of our clips today that we're going to watch. And just the excitement that everybody has, and they feed off him. And he's got such a command of this offense. A couple more things I'm going to show you on film today where he just checks us into something. So we always say this little saying as a coaches. I learned this from Shannon Williams, and it's just stuck with me since I was a first-year coach, not knowing what I was doing till now. You're either coaching it or allowing it. So you either coach kids to do stuff or you allow them to do things. And it can be positive, it can be negative. Well, Evan has a lot of allowances where he can take us in and get us into plays that fit better based on what the defensive structure is. And a couple times the other night, he just made a decision that, hey, we're going to get out of this play that we've called because there's a better play to be had. And he has those allowances to do those things. We're coaching some of it, but really it's just, hey, Evan has proven that he can be trusted to do some of the stuff that we're asking him to do. So the first play that we're going to watch today is going to be just him being allowed to do something that kind of is off script. But, man, he has so much confidence, and because of that, our team has so much confidence. It's really cool to watch.
Yeah, so, Coach, with that, we can go ahead and dive into some film here against Notre Dame. As Coach said, this is the Walker Valley offense. And at what point in the game is this, Coach?
So this is early on, first drive. So we had ran the ball down. We kicked off to start. They punted. They got a close first down, and then they punted after the second set of 3 downs. We have driven down inside the 25, and this is one of those plays I was just talking about. So we actually have a run play called to the left, but if you look over here with our 2 receiver side, that these 2 receivers only have 2 guys above them. This hat off the edge is an unblocked hat. So when we say unblocked hat, it's literally like we don't have a guy to block this kid right here. Like we don't have anybody to block that. So we got to do something. We got to read him, or we got to do something to defend that unblocked hat. If you'll watch this, Evan just kind of checks out, and he feels good about them coming, so he just throws that off the edge. So this is a run play. If you watch it from the end zone shot, the drone shot, which is, again, guys, the best shot in football. I don't think it gets better than this right here. But what you see is they got 7 guys, and we only got 6 guys to block. And they try to trick us over here with this alley defender going back, but we knew he was coming. So Evan just signals out to the receivers, hey, we're gonna run a dead screen instead. So that cuts them out of blocking. And Evan, the run play is going to the left, but Evan kind of throws it out there, and Hudson makes a great play and gets us in the end zone. So really cool start to the year where we're able to go adjust and go make a play.
For those of you listening on the radio, the drone shot is basically the Madden view, right, Coach?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a great view of the game. It's really fun to watch that. It's really the best view that we have when it comes to that. So the next little shot we got here This is just a run play this is a little tweak that we had this week that we really liked. And when you look at it from this shot, over here on this side again, we talk about, hey, what are the things that we like this week? Well, this side of the offensive line had some definite holes in it that we really wanted to attack with. So what you'll see is this is a new play. We haven't run this ever. So this is really cool to watch us take a scheme that we put in on Monday and our guys go execute it. So this is just Tanner. First of all, thankful to have Tanner back. What a great player he is. And he almost breaks it there. But just the scheme here where we go down on the front side, you'll see Ty Parker pull and kick on the front side and really have a lot of success there, being able to run the football. So huge play for us. It was something that we were really excited to be able to do there as we got going. So the touch screen's not working at this point, but really cool thing. And we did a lot of things throughout the night that scheme-wise just kind of worked out for us. So really excited about that. Evan's big run right before halftime. If we can get the iPad going again.
Before we move on to that, Coach, Tate Roundtree.
Yeah.
In the past years, you call him your Y back.
Mm-hmm.
Your
Our
Y
Y
back
back.
has been super important to how your offense goes. Kind of talk about Tate's role. On Friday night, we bragged on him. He was really good at getting a hat on a hat and creating lanes for your running back.
Listen, I think Tate played as good a football game as I've seen a Y back play here ever, and we've been running Y back stuff for every year I've been here. Pretty much, we've been in the Y back set. So when you look at the Y back and what they're able to do and what he's able to do, man, he really. If you look at our offense and kind of what we built this offense around, it's all kind of about Tate getting the point of attack block. Man, he did such a good job the other night of being able to do that and be successful in that. Blocking on the front side on that play. Mm-hmm. What it is we're down, and he's pulling and he's inserting essentially an isolation block on the linebacker. So it's so important that he's able to get that block and be able to make that play. And it's a really cool play, and like I said, we put it in on Monday and had a lot of success with it throughout the week, and we felt really good going into game one with it. So that was a cool thing. I don't know if we can get back to this film working, but I wanted to show this is the play right out of halftime. So, again, this is not a base offense play for us, but it's something we saw throughout the week that we really liked. Because the way they line up. So anytime you get a 3-down structure, so when I talk about 3-down structure, I'm talking about we got these 3 down offensive linemen. Let's see if we get the laser pointer going, right? So these 3-down offensive linemen, anytime you're in a three-down structure, if you add a surface, so when I say add a surface, I'm talking about add a tight end, add a Y back. So there's an extra gap here now that they have to figure out what they're going to do to that extra gap. Well, they didn't adjust to the extra gap. And that's a choice the DC makes, and they say, hey, we're going to make them bounce outside to these guys that we have standing out here, that we have guys that we can bounce it to. But now we have a gap that's uncovered and a second gap that's uncovered. This is one of the best block plays that we've done over the last 3 years. So if you watch this, we're running buck sweep to the right. Tate gets a great, just speaking of what you're speaking about right now.
Sealed the end right there.
Tate seals the end down, and because he seals the end down, now our guard can actually go to the second level. So when you look at that, boom, now Ty is able to go to the linebacker at the second level. Riley's able to get there. The block that goes unseen here, and this is the last clip we're going to show, so we got some time to kind of dissect this one. The block that's going to go unseen is this one right here, Jonas Harness. Jonas Harness came back to us from Oak Ridge. So he's been with Oak Ridge last season and missed being at Walker Valley, and I think that says a lot about Walker Valley and our culture here, but missed being here. So really excited to have Jonas back. But his patience, see how patient he is? That backside backer block is really what makes this play go. So now we got Evan one-on-one with a safety, and Evan does a great job of cutting back across the field and then outrunning the last defender. So really cool play, but this is what I was talking about a second ago. If you watch the end of this play, just the excitement that our guys, watch the end of this with our guys, just how excited they are. They chase him over to the edge. and they really celebrate with him, and it's a great night at Walker Valley. And a lot of what we do just kind of goes off what the offensive line's doing and what Tate's doing. So I wanted to show you all that clip, and it really speaks to our offensive line. And when we talk about that, and we talk about the success we had up front on Friday night, our offensive line as a whole graded out at 75%. To grade out at 75% up front as a group is so hard. It's so difficult. It's difficult for a lineman himself to grade 75, much less the entire group to grade that high. I mean, Caleb Kelly was 83%. Luke Hawkins was 82%. Farley played really well, 75 and above. Riley Myers played 75 and above. Ty Parker played 75 and above. Lane Kelly got 16 snaps and played awesome in those 16 snaps. So, man, that group up front really made us go. And
you're going to have success running the ball when those guys are doing their jobs.
75%, you're going to have a ton of success. So, that's 215 yards rushing. Evan was able to go 19 of 23 passing. Just a really good offensive night, scoring 7 out of 8 drives. And the one drive you didn't score, it was a busted play where we didn't get the call right. We didn't get a tight end, didn't get the vertical call. So, really, if you look at the night, it was a great night. 7 out of 8 scores. Getting points on 7 out of 8 drives is huge, but really the execution is what made it such a great evening.
Coach, and with that, before we go to break, we talked about the success of the rush game. Kind of a three-headed monster last Friday night against Notre Dame, starting with Jacob's normally our nickname guy, but I started calling Tanner Agent Zero. So starting with Agent Zero.
Yeah, Tanner, Tanner missed last year with a torn ACL in the preseason and really never got to be a part of any competition that we played last year, even in the preseason. So getting him back Friday, he went 4 rushes for 46 yards. We really wanted to kind of keep him at a low carry just because his first game back, and it's, we don't want to rush him into anything, especially he's still, right at 12 months off an ACL injury and really 10 months off ACL surgery. So we don't want to rush him back in. We got a long season. We need him. You saw how explosive he can be, though. But the other two, really showed out. Malachi Martin had, low yardage, but 2 touchdowns. And then Noah Jones, I thought, had a great night. If we can get Noah to, throw a stiff arm or a juke every now and then, he's going to be really successful. But he still ran for 60-plus yards, I think. And then Evan, obviously, adding the 88, I think, yards rushing. 1 on the touchdown run, but a second on a big-time scramble there towards the end of the game on 3rd down that he gained another 30 yards on that scramble. So as a group, I really liked our rushing attack. And it's one of those things that it's nice when stuff pays off. Like we've been preaching physicality to our offensive line and our backfield for 8 months now. We started in January saying, hey, this is who we have to be successful. And to see that play out on a Friday night and us have success doing what we said we wanted to do from day one that we started this in January, it was really fulfilling. It speaks a lot to what we've done as coaches, putting our guys in that position, but our players buying into what we wanted to do and the success we've had from that.
So once again, Mustangs beat Notre Dame in week 1, 45-8. When we come back from this break, we're going to talk with Coach Akins a little bit more about the upcoming matchup with Polk County. Back to episode 1 of the Walker Valley Football Coaches Show for the 2023 season. I'm Andy Morris with Jacob Mason and Walker Valley head football coach Drew Akins. And once again, this is Polk County week. Mustangs coming off a 45-8 win against Notre Dame in week 1. Coach, Polk County, this is a little bit of a rivalry renewed going back to, I believe, 2015, 2014. So our listeners pay attention to that. That might come up at some point later on with me and Jacob. But Coach, just kind of give us the rundown on how you and your coaching staff feel about going into the Polk County game.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of great things about this rivalry. It's something that, talking to Eric Swafford, he's been, he was here since the school was born.
You need to know something Walker
If
Valley
you need
football,
to know,
talk
if
to
you
Eric.
need to know something, man, Eric's the one I go to, and he just talked about how great of a game this had always been. And we wanted to find a way to get it back. And Coach Davis, I have a ton of respect for what Coach Davis does. Our first scrimmage here was against McMinn Central when Coach Davis was at McMinn Central, and they gave us all we wanted. They gave it to us, and it made us realize, some things year one that we had some growth to do. But Coach Davis does a great job. He's going to put his guys in great situations, but really, it's the community aspect. I just hearing people talk how this was such a great game in years past, and be able to get that back, and be able to go over there to start. And we talked, Coach Davis and I talked about us coming to him for year one, and just us being able to bring a crowd over, and it's something that their community is going to shut down, and they're going to make sure that. And I think those are the coolest communities to go play football against. Same thing when they come to us next year. They're going to shut down their entire community, and they're going to come up here and watch a game. So I think it really is good for both schools. And listen, they're going to be competitive. They scrimmaged Notre Dame in the preseason and beat them up pretty good. I think it was 35-14 is the score that I was told. So they're a good football team, and they give you real issues offensively with what they do, because their offense is that old school wing tee, and they're going to just mash you, and they're trying to get 3 yards a carry. So what we have to do as a defense is we can't give up that death by paper cuts kind of thing. Death, that's never fun, where you get to 3rd and 2 and you can't seem to get off the field. So we got to find a way to create negative plays, get them behind the sticks. And if we're able to get them behind the sticks, then we can kind of get into our defense and let Tyron Forte and Braxton Smith and Josiah kind of do what they do in the back end. That I'm really excited to watch. But, it's going to take some physicality, and it goes back to that same word that I was talking about, in the first segment. We've got to be physical. And our defense, I think, is willing to do that. But it's going to be really hot, and we got to make sure that we have enough guys up front that are willing to go take on those blocks and be able to really sustain that through an evening, because it's going to be 98, 99 degrees on Friday throughout the day. Sure, at 7:30 it won't be that hot, but it's still going to be humid, and we're going to have to play a lot of guys to be able to withstand that offense. So it's going to be a great challenge for us, and Coach Davis is going to have them ready. I told our guys today, man, they care about winning this game. And we got to make sure that we're locked in, and it's going to be a weird week where it's going to be hard to get outside, which makes it hard to prepare for a team like this. So we talked about, hey, anytime we're together, whether we're outside practicing, which is probably not likely this week, whether we're in a gym or whether we're in a meeting room.
Due to extreme temperatures.
Yeah, extreme temperatures. It's going to be very difficult to get outside and practice. So whatever we do this week, we've got to be fully locked into whatever we're doing, whether it's in the meeting room watching film, whether it's in the gym because we have to be, or whether we're somehow able to get outside. We've got to make sure we're locked in and ready to go, because they present so many issues on offense. They got a good quarterback that can really throw the ball more than I'm typically used to seeing Coach Davis throw the ball. They have a receiver that's outstanding. Number 12, he's an outstanding player. They got an offensive lineman that's nasty and physical. They got 2 backs that can really play. So, we're going to have to really make sure that we're ready to show up and play that kind of game. And those games aren't fun. They're not fun to be a part of, but it's something that we need to be tested like that, because we're going to see this this similar offense against Ray County. We're going to see it against McMinn County. They've changed to a wing T type offense. So if we want to win those games that really matter to us in the playoff standings, then we need to see a game like this where we see if we can withstand that from Polk County.
Yeah, well, you kind of stole my question about defense, because I was just going to ask what you felt like we needed to do this week. So what's Polk County's defensive identity? What's something that they like to lean on?
Yeah, they're similar defensively, where they really want to pack the box in, and they want you to have to beat them throwing the football. And that's kind of counterintuitive to what we've been trying to do offensively. You know, they run a front that's 4 down linemen, so it's a little bit different than we saw with Notre Dame with the 3 down. And they run 4 linebackers. So they're in a cover 3 look, which doesn't leave a whole lot of places to be able to run the ball. And when you're talking about if we have our heavy front, then we have 7 blockers. Well, they got 8 defenders. If we have our 3 wide receiver with Tate in, then they have 8 defenders, but we only have 6 blockers. So now it's like, who do you read? Who do you who are you going to leave unblocked? You know, those are questions that we got to figure out in the coaching staff room. What fits us best? But they're going to force you to throw the ball to beat them. So we need a great game from Evan to start. He's got to be really good when it comes to passing efficiency. It's something we were really bad at in the preseason. So it's something that's going to test us. Roman Yulo and Brady Stack and Hudson McCooch and Spencer McCooch. Zeke needs to play a little offense more than he did last week. You know, those guys have got to have a big game to get them out of the box so we're able to get into our run game a little bit more. But they're tough-nosed. They like to bring inside backer blitzes. They're going to pressure you to be able to throw the ball. And then it comes down to, can we protect? You know, if we have to beat them through the air, how do we protect it well enough to make sure that we're able to do that? So there's a lot of things offensively that, again, in a week you can't get outside because of the heat. It's going to be hard to prepare for. So hopefully we're very efficient with our practices that we do get. We're very efficient in the gym, which is so difficult when you're trying to work pass and you have essentially an arena field instead of a 53 and a third by 120. So we've got to figure out how we're going to work that, and then we've got to show great film to make sure our kids know where the holes are, because we got to attack those. So they're going to give us issues, and they're going to say, hey, if you're going to beat us, you have to do it throwing the ball. We have the ability to do that, but we have not shown the efficiency to do that. So hopefully we can get enough work in throughout this week that we're able to do that on Friday.
So, Coach, real quick, fill the Mustang faithful in on game times, location, all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. You know, home games are moved to 7 o'clock. Polk County is keeping theirs at 7:30. So it's a 7:30 kickoff at Polk County. It's going to be warm, so it's kind of nice. That's a little bit later. That gives that heat index a little more time to go down. But, yeah, we're 7:30 kickoff at Polk County High School. Great rivalry that we're excited to bring back to Walker Valley, and really excited to bring it back to Polk County community as well.
And with that, you'll be able to listen to Jacob and myself on Sports 99.1 pregame coverage starting around 6:30 roughly. You'll get to hear this interview, and then me and Jacob kind of go back and forth. We're going to try to get him to do his big money picks this week too, see if we can get him to do that. But again, a good week 1 for the Mustangs as we head into Polk County. We hope you guys can make it out to Benton for that game. If not, listen to Jacob and I on Sports 99.1. Thanks for joining us.